Okay, we're going to start this again because it froze up.
And we're on a different computer with a worse camera. So we lost the whole last one, so we're going to start over.
We did. So tonight, okay, this is Michelle.
Just so the podcasters know, we had a debacle.
We did. We had a technical debacle. There we go. All right.
So I'm Michelle.
And this is Mark.
And this is the Mark and Michelle Show.
Again, on the same night, September 11th, 2019. And not that you're going to not see a date or anything. But anyway, here, let's do this. We are going to, again, talk about the differences between the medical medium and the GAPS diet. And because I think a lot of folks need to know that now that I spent 4.5 years on GAPS, and Michelle did too, we realized that GAPS really only treated one thing. It didn't complete the picture. We're finding that for us, medical medium really could have treated everything for us. We just didn't know about it. But now that we do, we realize that it is completing our healing, completing our recovery from numerous illnesses. Mine from autism and her from Lyme and viruses, and mine from viruses and bacteria and stuff like that.
Stuff we didn't know we had until a medical medium let us know.
Exactly. And so I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the differences between the two, and then we'll go into talking about why we feel that medical medium is definitely the one for us, and more than likely for you as well.
Yes.
So let's start with the GAPS diet. The GAPS diet, the GAPS, the G stands for gut, A for and, P for psychology, and S for syndrome. And so gut and psychology syndrome. And Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, a British general practitioner, she devised the diet. She had a severely autistic son, and she used the diet to recover him from severe autism.
It would be interesting to meet him.
It would be.
See how recovered he is.
Exactly. And so Michelle brought the diet to my attention back in 2013 when subconsciously I was looking for a way out of my very frustrating life with autism. And so we talked about it, but then we jumped in with both feet, and it did wonderful for me for about 1.5 to 2 years. Then I plateaued and didn't really see any more gains. And Michelle, however, I'm going to let her tell that story.
Well, I got worse. At first, I started feeling better with my gut, and the migraines started going away a little bit. But other things came up. I would eat something and get hives, or I started getting fatigue, extreme fatigue. There was a month that I didn't sleep. And I became so fatigued I had to quit everything I was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that.
So I knew it was adrenals, but I didn't know why. And so I read on GAPS how to clear up adrenal issues, and the answer was butter and honey. And I ate butter and honey forever, and I gained so much weight. I did feel a little bit better, and it was probably the honey, but now I know that all that butter was blocking my liver, and it was making me worse.
Mm-hmm. So
the GAPS diet made me sick.
It did. And while it cleared up a couple of things for her, it really caused a downward spiral in her health. In fact, I feel like she was probably physically worse off after a couple of years on, 3 years on the GAPS than she was before we started the GAPS.
I was.
And so we spent a total of 4.5 years doing it. And she modified it. She modified it for her. And as she said a minute ago, even the modifications she didn't find satisfactory.
No.
And so, do you remember those modifications?
I couldn't eat fruit at all. I would break out in hives.
Mm-hmm.
I had cantaloupe and just got hives everywhere.
Yep. Your upper chest and your face and the back of your neck. Yep. I remember that.
And I couldn't eat fruit at all.
Yep. And so the GAPS diet, for those of you who don't know, consists of eating meat broth, fat, animal fats, plant fats, fermented dairy or fermented foods like sauerkraut or kefir, yogurt, kimchi, and then lots of raw garlic. And so the raw garlic is there to kill off the bad bacteria and stuff in your gut. The probiotics, the probiotic foods, the fermented foods, are there to replace the the bad bacteria with the good bacteria. Excuse me. The bad bacteria with the good bacteria. I think I said the opposite of that.
I don't know what you said.
Anyway, so you're with the probiotic foods, the fermented foods, you're supposed to replace the bad bacteria that you kill off with good bacteria to help you digest your food and that kind of thing. And so the meat broth and the meat fat and the meat, in the meat and the meat broth, you get proteins to help your cells rebuild. And the fat, you get fat to help your cells rebuild. Well, all that was great for me for about a year and a half. I ate nothing but meat broth, fat, fermented foods like fermented dairy and sauerkraut, things like that, and raw garlic for 18 months, every meal. And I started feeling so good after just a few months of doing it, I wanted to keep going. So after about two and a half years on GAPS, so about the middle of 2016, or the end of 2015, I felt great, but I started to notice that I was gaining weight. I'm like, why would I be gaining weight on this when I'm supposed to be burning fat off? Because it's basically a strict keto diet.
Right.
And so I didn't see any other major gains after about the middle of 2016. And
that's about when I got really sick.
It was.
And so my background is I was diagnosed with Lyme disease when I was around 20. I was sick before that with major gut issues, pains, and phantom pains. No doctor could figure out what was wrong with me. So that was a few years ago. So they were already not knowing what was going on. And I took 3 years of antibiotics for the Lyme. So then I got all those toxins.
Yeah.
And they didn't actually really help. They sort of did, but then I started seeing my health decline more and more. So in my late 20s, I had frozen shoulder. I was starting to have TMJ. I was gritting my teeth so bad I had to have a night guard made. And then in my 30s, I was having migraines every day. And I couldn't eat hardly anything without having a gut issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my 40s, I was still having major migraines. It was a very unpleasant life, actually.
It was.
Being married to an Aspie and being this sick.
Right. It was unpleasant for the both of us.
It was very unpleasant.
Yeah. And so she expected the GAPS to help, and it did clear up. It did clear up some gut issues and migraine issues. Mm-hmm. But like she said a little bit ago, she wound up feeling worse after 2.5, 3 years on the GAPS than she did before she went on it. Mm-hmm. And so we were looking for something else that would actually continue to help. And so in January of 2018, some friends of ours told us about the medical medium diet. Now, I know medical medium says this is not a diet, this is not a protocol, this is not whatever.
He says it's information.
It's information. That's correct. Let's go with this.
I watched his Celery Live today.
We're giving you information, okay? For entertainment purposes, right? Mm-hmm. What you do with it for your entertainment is your business. So, but I see where he's coming from. Mm-hmm. Information.
Yeah.
So, because when you get information, then you can be empowered to do whatever you need to do. So that's what we're doing. We're giving you information. Mm-hmm. And so mainly his diet is raw fruit and raw veggies. And there are some cooked foods, and he has recipes for cooked foods too, but mainly cooked potatoes. And because there's a lot of lysine in potatoes, they go to help boost your immune system.
You kill the viruses.
And kill viruses. And so on the medical medium, we just started. We did a 35-day, we did the 28-day cleanse. We carried it out for 35 days, another whole full week because we're crazy like that. And
well, we felt so good.
We did.
It was amazing. Of course, there was detox. That was not easy.
No, because when you do detox, you get grumpy a little bit, or maybe not just a little bit.
Felt like we had the flu.
Felt like you had that. And we've had strep numerous times in 5 months.
Yeah.
She had it 7 times. I had it 5 times in the first 5 months of doing. And finally, we were just like, okay, we're going to have to cut back on this because we're just tired of being sick the whole time.
Yeah, we were too sick.
Exactly. And
detox-wise.
So we did. And the strep evened out. So we had strep maybe a couple more times, but it was very mild for like a day or two. I mean, when we first started having strep, it would last for like a week or 8 days or something, or 2 weeks. But then as we went on, the strep would come up and we'd wind up killing it off, and it would get shorter each time that we had it.
Yeah, we got better. I'll tell you what, that first day on this diet, I felt so much better. I was like, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. And so did I. And we even wrote about it.
We probably did a live on it.
We probably did do a live on it. And so we found that the medical medium diet started making huge changes in me, because part of that 28-day cleanse was the heavy metal detox smoothie.
And the celery juice.
And the celery. Did we do celery?
We sure did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So we did celery juice too. So between the celery juice and the heavy metal detox smoothie, the celery juice is killing off viruses. Now, I only found out a couple weeks back that I had dystonia, which is severe muscle cramping. And at least it was for me. It may be that's what it is across the board for everyone. But dystonia seems to be a fairly common symptom in those who have autism. And which is interesting, because when I found out that dystonia was caused by neurological damage, all of a sudden medical medium makes sense when he says viruses produce neurotoxins that damage your nerves. Oh, then I realized that my dystonia was caused by viral neurotoxins, the damage caused by that. And because these muscle cramps were severe. I mean, I would get, it was like my right shoulder would be hunched up and the muscles would be rock hard and they wouldn't let go. And it would be 10, 15 seconds before they did let go. Then they'd cramp right back up after about 2 seconds of being released, and they'd stay like that again for another 10, 15 seconds. And it took a lot of time.
Like contractions.
It was. And they just, it just wouldn't stop. And
when we did that 28-day cleanse, that went away.
It did. And
but then you didn't keep doing that stuff.
I didn't. But you know what? My observation was, the more meat I had, the more fat I had, the more those cramps came back, the more that dystonia came back. And I was like, this is weird. But finally, because it takes me a long time sometimes to get things, a couple weeks ago I realized, it's the meat and the fat that help the viruses, and the viruses produce the neurotoxins that continue to destroy the nerves. And so when I have meat, I'm damaging my nerves indirectly or directly, I don't know, whichever one you call it, and that's causing me severe muscle dystonia, Right. And so
and we were thinking today that maybe stimming is also neurological
and it might
damage.
be, because I think that as I started on the GAPS, after about 6 months on GAPS, my stimming went away.
Yeah.
Not entirely though, because sometimes it would come back. So that made me wonder.
We have a question mark about that.
We have a question mark, but I think we're on the right track with stimming being.
Too bad we can't meet medical medium.
Yeah, I know, right? He could just tell us all of this stuff. We could cheat.
We're just like using educational guesses.
Well, no, because you're using your intuition, but we're using his information.
Right.
Right. So and so far his information's panned out.
Yes.
So when you get results, why worry about it? And we've got results on this diet.
Well,
and
we
so
know how to
so
fix
many other
it
people.
no matter what. You either are going to treat yourself for strep, or you're going to treat yourself for viruses, and it's going to take care of whatever stimming is.
Right. And so, but medical medium, again, is a raw fruit and raw veggie diet for the most part, with some cooked foods. And you tend to get your raw fruit in the form of smoothies, like the heavy metal detox smoothie, or just your fruit smoothies during the day. raw veg in the form of salads. In fact, his liver cleanse is like huge amounts of salad
Spinach.
and huge amounts of apple juice and
Apples.
celery juice and that kind of thing. And so, and I mean huge amounts of salad.
That's about all you eat for 9 days.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would start cleansing your liver, no doubt. But that's where you get your raw veggies from. So you eat some cooked potatoes and that kind of thing. Well, this diet is actually pretty cool because I can eat a lot of foods on this diet. In fact, all the foods that I eat on this diet, I couldn't eat on GAPS.
None of them.
Couldn't eat potatoes. Fruit, psh, no.
Well, and what
Honey.
you don't know is we've been on low carb, high fat, high protein diets since the 90s.
Yeah, since
So
the first time we did.
we haven't had food
actions.
like this in forever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we couldn't eat it without trouble,
Right.
And like a friend of mine that I at work, she was having severe muscle cramps, and I told her you just need to eat more fruit because they need the glucose, and then I told her I need to stop eating meat. She goes, oh, and so she didn't like that because I found out she's a Muskogee Creek woman. She's in her 20s, and she likes some of the traditional Native American dishes like deer and stuff like that. And I said, yeah. I said, I understand. It's hard to give up your cultural foods, But I said, you got to let go of the importance of meat because you're feeding viruses and stuff that are damaging your nerves. And she goes, oh, really? I said, yeah. So definitely the fruit. So, but yeah, we have since found out that we're having to treat me for viruses and strep.
Yeah, we didn't know we were treating him for viruses.
Exactly. And so for those of you who have just met me in the past day or two, I'm going to quickly give a rundown of what autism is in my experience. And I really think it's the case for almost everyone else with autism. Heavy metals. That's one contributing factor. Attendant microbial infections, whether bacterial like strep, SIBO. Pandas is considered strep. Medical medium says it's not strep, it's viral. Right? Viral infections, okay? So microbial and viral infections, gut damage, neurological damage. So you heal those. You're going to have to heal your liver up.
Liver.
Right? We're at a fifth liver. But you can do all this at the same time on the medical medium by eating the fruit and heavy metal detox smoothie and the veggies and that kind of stuff because this all contributes to. And for the lady I met earlier this afternoon who has a severely autistic son, and I told you give him more fruit, most definitely, because as I started to recover from autism on the GAPS diet, Michelle and I realized, I told Michelle, I said, we were having a severe low blood sugar episode, her and I both at the same time, because we neglected to eat when we needed to. Well, that severe low blood sugar episode, or hypoglycemia, has all the same issues with it that autism does. Don't like to be touched, don't like to be talked to. You're incredibly grumpy. You can only handle one thing at a time. Your mind is very single tracked. And those symptoms describe autism, the main points of autism. And so what I'm telling you, and Medical Medium says this in his first book, people with autistic brains and ADHD brains need more glucose than most other brains. That is 100% true because hypoglycemia seems to have the same traits as autism. So you just give as much fruit as you can to your kids, even if they have to buy them off or trade them or give them rewards or whatever, but you get that fruit into them and the heavy metal detox smoothie. So, because it will make major changes in your world and their world. So, let's see, what else?
I don't know.
The reason that we're doing medical medium is because, and we're
ticks
promoting
all the boxes.
It does. We're promoting medical medium because it does take care of everything.
It takes care of everything. GAPS was only taking care of gut health.
Right. And some of the
and it ended up causing liver problems.
It did. And I'm pretty sure my liver got backed up after 2.5 to 3 years on GAPS with all that fat I was eating. And believe me, I liked fat, but it caused, after about 3 years of doing it, it caused me a lot of inflammation and a lot more weight gain. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm going backwards here. Why am I going backwards?
Yeah.
And so medical medium came along, and I saw major differences and major change improvements well past what GAPS did. Because doing the heavy metal detox smoothie took the metals out of me, and my communication changed. My relationship with her changed even more, leaps and bounds. And so for her, it's been nothing but continuous improvement for her.
Yes, it's been really exciting. I got to where I could work a full-time job, and I hadn't been able to do that since ever. I don't think ever.
She never could eat cooked onions. She hated onions.
Yeah,
now she can eat raw onions.
Yeah.
And she likes them.
It's fun. They're fun.
She'd always say, "You don't have onions in that, do you?" "No." "I'll put it in for me," right? But now she likes eating raw onions.
Even my mom, growing up, she would leave onions out because I couldn't eat the onions.
Now she can eat raw onions and likes it. So anyway, medical medium, and that's the thing. You don't have to do the medical medium in steps. You can just start on the fruit smoothies, and the fruit is going to detox you. You have to stay off the no foods. But the fruit is just going to naturally detox you and clean you up and heal you because you're getting the right amount of blood sugar. Right? And it sounds counterintuitive, but it's really not, because with all the biology that I had, I realized that's what cells need is glucose. And you get that from fruit. You get that from veggies. But you don't get that from cooked foods because all that's broken down. But see, you're getting all your antioxidants and all your minerals and vitamins and stuff from all those raw foods too. So, no, you might not be getting your recommended daily allowance, but I'll tell you what, you're going to feel better anyway. So, anyway, but what else?
Download the book. It's going to help you understand what autism is better.
Yeah, our book, that is, not Medical Medium, but you can download that too. But our book, Buried Alive, One Man's Journey Out of Autism.
You can get that at www.healyouroautism.com.
Yes. And
have your celery juice.
Have your heavy metal detox smoothie.
And your lemon water.
Yep. And we will see you guys here tomorrow night at 10:45. Bye-bye.